Good evening and welcome to Inside Jefferson Football, your weekly look inside the Jaguar football program. My name is Josh Powers. Coming up on this episode, as we look ahead to Week 7, we'll talk to the head coach, Tim Carlson, about last week's game against Chaska and the home game on Friday against Henry Sibley. In the Where Are They Now segment, former Jaguar Sean McGee, class of 1993, will stop by, and a couple of juniors join me in the Players segment, Colby Jorsham and Noah Williams. But first, the head coach, Tim Carlson. Glad to be back, as always.
You did it. You got his name.
I got Jorsham's name right. I've been practicing for like 45 minutes. Chaska, difficult opponent. You told me before the week started you thought it was the best team that you've faced to date, and I'm assuming you still have that opinion after Friday night's game.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. All around, whether it be special teams to offense, defense, they are by far the best team we've played all year. And we've played some good teams. Benilde was very good. But all around, Chaska is the top. Just a physical offense. Their quarterback can make some throws. They have some nice receivers, and they just attack and swarm you on defense. And we had some opportunities to make some plays and get some points up on the board and to make some stops, but just not enough of them to come out of it.
Let's take a look at some of the positive highlights from you, Coach. As we'll take a look here. First, on defense, you talk about getting opportunities. Your defense provides you one here.
Yeah, they do a lot of the sprint out, and we call this a flood route. You can see the three levels, and Hunter Burgess just does a great job of coming underneath it. We've practiced this all week. We knew they liked the flood route. They have someone in the flat, someone at about 10 yards, and Hunter's right underneath that 10-yard out route and makes a nice catch to kind of stay with it, bobbled it, but caught it going to the ground. And there's a lot of things that we did really well defensively. We took away their option. They were an option team that kind of hurt us a year ago with it, but we took that away, took a lot of the different passing stuff away, but just not enough. They made too many big plays on us and stopping their power run game. That was tough.
Hunter Burgess, though, what a season he's having, Coach. He just seems to be that knack of being always around the ball. I mean, if you could clone him, that would be something good for every team, not just yours.
You know, and really for Hunter, the work starts in the off season. He works hard during the basketball season, and then there's this spring he was at everything and working hard in the weight room all summer long. Hunter asked a lot of questions. You can ask Coach Fearing that Hunter loves to ask questions, but he's really developed into a pretty good player. Hunter's a great kid, great young man. We named him captain. He was not voted captain, but the coaches named him captain right at the beginning of the year, just because of the leadership he has shown during the offseason. And he's off to a great start, and hope he keeps getting better and better.
Offensively, Manny Montgomery, great to see him get back into the end zone, as we'll take a look at his touchdown catch from last Friday night's game.
Yeah, I think Manny probably played his best game defensively, too. And here we just get a little slant. Carter makes a nice read, goes to the one receiver side. Good catch, good throw.
I love the body position, too, just shielding off that defender. With
and that's a two-sport athlete. That's where basketball stuff comes in. For Manny and for Hunter as well. If you watch Hunter, he does a lot of the same thing. And that's where this multi-sport athlete stuff really comes into play. And now hopefully in the winter, the football stuff will transfer for those guys in basketball too. But you're absolutely right. It was a good route, good throw with time to throw it, and there's the result.
You get a ground game touchdown, too, later on in the game, Coach, to kind of round out the scoring. I know the running back was tough with all the injuries you guys have, but do you find a way to get into the end zone here?
Yeah, we feel pretty good where we are at depth-wise at running back. So Roosevelt started, and then Brock Edwards and Seth Krakow and Aiden Bertrand came in late, and those three will probably have to, the rest of the year, kind of carry us at the running back spot. And they all did a great job. They're all very different. You have Brock, who's bigger and more north-south. Seth, more east-west and can catch the ball really well out of the backfield. And Aiden's not real big, but he runs hard and has pretty good speed. So we'll probably see all three of them Friday night.
Let's take a look at Aiden's touchdown here. His first touchdown, correct, of his Jefferson career. He gets into the end zone here.
Good for him. Again, nice of blocking up front, and he finds a little hole. Like I said, he's got good speed, and he hits the hole hard. And hey, you do that, and good things will happen. Credit to the O-line. We had a bunch of subs in there. Our left tackle, Kenny Hubertus, had never played football before. up until this year, and we got him in the game, and you could see him kind of jumping up and down. I asked him after the game, I said, a year ago, if I had asked you, hey, what do you think about playing a varsity football game a year from now? He goes, I would have told you you're crazy, Coach, but he goes, it was a lot of fun. So though the result wasn't a lot of fun, you'd like to see kids out there and go through that experience.
It was nice to get some different kids, some playing time and good experience as you head down the line to an important part of your season. We'll talk about it, the home game against Henry Sibley coming up on Friday in the last segment, all right? All right. Coming up next, it's the Where Are They Now segment. Former Jaguar football player Sean McGee from the class of 1993 joins me next.
If I could go back and change it all, I would. I think I'm gonna miss you the most. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Maybe it's just the little moments. If I could go back and change it all, if I could go back, I would. But I can't.
Back on Inside Jefferson Football, the Jaguars head back home on Friday night. It's the final Friday of the regular season. They will take on the Warriors of Henry Sibley. 7 o'clock start at the stadium, or you can watch it live on BEC-TV. Time for the Where Are They Now segment. Class of 1993, Sean McGee, our guest this week. Sean, thanks a lot for stopping by.
Thanks for having me.
So let's talk about, we'll get to your Jefferson past, but the segment's called Where Are They Now? So where are you now? What have you been up to since you graduated Jefferson High School back in 1993, and where has that led you down the path of your life?
So I had the opportunity to play Division III football. Went to Concordia College in Moorhead, Minnesota. Was a Copper. We are 5th and 6th graders at this time, and we're helping out with the Sartell football team. My daughters are both dancers, and they dance for the Sartell High School, and that's a very rich tradition of winning right now. They've won state like 3 times in a row, so that's been fun. And then you can't have kids without having a hockey player, so my son also is dominating his time right now with hockey. So,
all right, you recently shared with me a big physical accomplishment that you were able to do this past year. So talk about the endurance race that you completed.
So probably about 4 years ago, started training for Ironman, which would be a triathlon, 3-sport athlete, and basically start with a swim at about 2.4 miles, and then you head into a 112-mile bike ride, and then finish with a marathon. So I was able to do that in Madison this year. Beginning of September. That was a big accomplishment. Been working up to that the last 4 years, so that was a lot of fun.
What was that feeling like when you crossed that finish line after hours and hours? I mean, you probably weren't maybe one of the elites, right, who finishes in 6 hours or so, but just to cross that finish line, how did that feel?
It was good. I mean, it's funny you bring it up because there's a turnaround at the halfway point, and the elites were finishing as I was doing 13 miles. They were coming in at 26, so it was ready to be done. I'm glad to be done. It was a little surreal. It took a couple weeks to get my legs back, but yeah, it was a lot of fun.
What led you down to the path of being in the medical field, getting that medical residency, and going into to what you're doing now as your career path? What led you to take that field?
Sure. My father was a physician and is a physician. He's a pathologist, so I had a lot of background working with him at the office, interested in anatomy. And then I ran into a mentor during medical school that introduced me to surgery, which prior to that I had no background in. And you really count on people to be mentors towards you. And that really worked out towards me. Coach Carlson's been a mentor towards me, helped me get to the first starting point in JV and varsity. And then Coach Shea was my head coach, and so he was a mentor too. So I'd say everywhere along the way I've graduated up to the next step, I've always had someone helping me. So, medical field was no different.
Let's go back to your high school days in the early 90s. We got some clips, by the way, of you back in the day. You were a dynamic player for Jefferson. Let's take a look at some of these clips of Sean McGee back. This is a 1992 season, right, as you were a senior. Walk us through this touchdown play.
So, it looks like we're in the wing tee. We had a lot of wing tee, and this isn't quite a touchdown, but this was a long pass against Burnsville. At the time, Burnsville was what would be considered one of the powerhouses in the Lake Conference. So we had just drove down. We actually were about to go ahead for Burnsville, which was a big deal back then. So I remember this game. You guys had asked me what game I remember, and this was one of the bigger games. So next few plays we were to score, and then we were to try to keep that going forward.
This is a huge. Jefferson didn't throw it a lot back then, so it had to feel good as a wide receiver, Sean, to go up and make that big play for you guys.
We actually changed from the wing tee straight ahead football to more of a spread offense that same year, and it was a blast. I mean, we basically turned it into a go, and we had a lot of passes. I think we set some records in terms of just the school because he'd been basically a running school for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
So. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. We had a blast.
What are some of the memories and moments that still stay with you now? 25 years later, that from your high school days?
Well, I think that the biggest thing that stays with you is homecoming. I mean, I remember homecoming, which I believe was this game. More importantly, I don't remember the person I played, but I remember kind of the people that I was with. I remember, having fun with basically the group of guys that I was going to graduate with. I also remember Parents' Night. Since Parents' Night, my mom has passed, and so it was a good memory to be able to go back and remember, Mom being with us and just, being a chance to thank my parents, because at the time you didn't realize how big of a deal it was to have support, but it's a big deal, and it was really nice to be able to kind of remember some of those things as she was taking me through this tape. I haven't seen this tape for a very long time.
Well, it was great to catch up with you. Congratulations on all the success of your career as a surgeon and your family up in St. Cloud and your Ironman. It sounds like you've had a lot of accomplishments since high school. It was great to catch up with you and see what you've been up to all these years later.
Thank you very much for letting me share.
All right, that's Sean McGee, class of 1993. Coming up next, Players segment time as Inside Jefferson football continues.
We will never fully understand what we've asked of you, or your families, asking you to put yourself in harm's way, to endure it all. But we do understand that it's our turn, our duty, to keep you secure for the rest of your life. Wounded Warrior Project long-term support programs help our most severely ill or injured veterans live independently, at no cost, for life, so that they might stand at ease. Join us at findwwp.org.
Back on Inside Jefferson football. Jefferson returns home to play Henry Sibley Friday night, 7 o'clock, their final home game of the regular season at Bloomington Stadium. Players segment time. We got a couple of the junior class representatives. Noah Williams on my left, Colby Jorsham on my right. Guys, are you nervous to be on television, live television?
A little, but not like completely.
Okay.
Yeah, not really.
Not as nervous as a football game. All right. Noah, we ask every player this question. When did you decide you wanted to take up the game of football, and when did it turn into something that you obviously could pursue at a high level, at the high school level?
Ever since I was little, because all my brothers played football, so it was just kind of in the bloodline,
How about you, Colby?
For me, it was my dad played football in college and high school, and it was basically just started when I was born. Just grew up playing football with my dad, turned into flag football, then tackle football when I was allowed to.
For those that don't know, walk everybody through what your roles are on the team, what position groups you're a part of.
I'm an inside linebacker and a receiver.
How about you, Noah?
I'm a guard and a nose guard.
Hey, Noah, have you always been an offensive lineman growing up? Just one of the bigger kids, right?
Yeah, just offense and defense. I've bounced around many of the O-line spots throughout high school and BAA days, so it's fun.
Did you ever lobby the coach like, hey, I can be quarterback here. Give me the ball. Let me show you my arm strength.
Oh yeah, every day at practice I'm asking him if I could get some running back reps.
Guys, you're both are juniors this year. I'll ask you this first, Colby. Coming into maybe more of a leadership role this year as you see kind of your junior season ending, what has that transition been like stepping up to the varsity level this year as a junior, coming from where you were last year as a sophomore?
Well, it's now that we have the sophomores joining us on like all the varsity games, it's like when you're not on the field, you're helping the varsity out on the sideline and getting the sophomores into it. So while they're out there playing, you're helping the sideline.
Noah, do you feel like you're kind of getting to the end of that junior year? Do you feel like you're maybe ready to be more of a leader as you start to look ahead? I mean, it's not too far down the line where you're going to be back here over the summer as a senior on next year's team. Do you think you're ready to kind of take that next step up in your Jaguar career?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's been a lot of fun just helping out and helping coach up the sophomores, get them ready for next year when hopefully they'll be starting on some of the positions. So it's been a good time.
Colby, the final home game for you guys this year, a regular season anyway. So what has this week so far been like, and what are you looking forward to on Friday night?
Just getting a win at home since we haven't had one yet this season. That's the main goal.
What are some outside activities that you guys are involved in besides football? I'll start with you. Noah, what is life like for Noah Williams off the football field?
Mostly just a lot of school and sleep. not much time besides that.
No video games or anything like that?
Haven't been playing a lot.
Okay, that's good. Just focusing on the schoolwork, right?
Yeah, a lot of sleep.
That's a good answer with Coach Carlson kind of an earshot away. How about you, Colby?
After the football season, I do basketball, not through the school though, but then other than that, it's just working out for football season and school.
All right, guys, it's that time. It's Jefferson trivia time, so here's how it's going to work. It's a best 2 out of 3. I'll read you a question followed by a series of multiple choice answers. You don't have to wait for the multiple choice. If you think you know the answer, buzz in by saying your name, and if you get best 2 out of 3, then you're this week's winner of Jefferson trivia. So here we go. Question number 1. How many football coaches have there been in Jefferson football history?
Noah, 4.
4. Look at Noah. You got to be
Hey.
quick, Colby. This guy is going to be tough to beat. 4 is the correct answer. So how about that? 4 coaches in 50 years. That is pretty impressive. Which Jefferson sport last won a state title? So the most recent sport to win a state title. Is it boys tennis, girls cheerleading, girls hockey, or boys basketball?
Colby, girls cheerleading.
Yes, girls cheerleading. 2016, the most recent state title. So here we go. Last question. It's all tied at 1. How many boys hockey state titles have there been won in Jefferson history? Is it 4, 5, 6, or 7?
Noah, 6.
It is not 6. Colby, this is your chance for the win.
7?
It is not 7. Noah, we're going to go back to you.
5.
It is 5. Noah,
Yeah.
5 state titles for boys hockey. Last one coming in 1994. You are this week's winner of Jefferson Trivia. Guys, we'll get to see you back at home. Good luck on Friday night, all right?
Thank you.
All right, we'll talk to Coach Carlson about the game against Henry Sibley on Friday night in our final segment of Inside Jefferson Football. Back on Inside Jefferson Football, final home game for Jefferson in the regular season. They will take on Henry Sibley Friday night, 7 o'clock at Bloomington Stadium. Back with the head coach, Tim Carlson. Now, we talked to Sean McGee about his Ironman triathlon that he did this year in Madison, Wisconsin, and I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about your triathlon.
Oh, well, yeah, it wasn't quite the same as what Sean did. We did appetizers at Sensors. We started there, dinner at North Star Tavern, and we finished it off with ice cream at Dairy Queen. So it took a lot. It was expensive, but I pushed my way through it.
So very similar to triathlon experience. It's expensive.
Yep.
You're bouncing around from place to place.
Absolutely.
And you're exhausted by the time you get done.
It's pretty much the same thing. It really is. But it's great to see Sean. And Sean, got to mention it earlier, went into our Football Hall of Fame this year because he was just a great player and a great young man. And you can see how, what he's like now being a surgeon and so on. So it's really cool to see him again.
And he wanted to credit you because you were the one that put him into the Jaguar starting lineup to kind of kickstart his Jaguar career.
Yeah, we must have been desperate. I don't know. But, yeah, I mean, he was such a hard worker. You don't get to be where he is now without being a hard worker. And that's how he was in high school, and he deserved everything he got.
Well, speaking of hard work, you got Friday night coming up, Henry Sibley. What do you know about Henry Sibley? Obviously, their record is not some of the teams that you played earlier this year, so maybe an opportunity at home in that last home game in the regular season to get out of there with a W.
Yeah, that's how we approach every week. But they're young. They're very young. They don't have a lot of seniors that start for them offensively or defensively. Defensively, they switch around from a 3-man front to a 4-man front. We're hoping we can run the ball, use all 3 running backs and run the ball against them and mix in the passing game. And again, we like being 50-50. I think Sean would have loved our offense.
Right.
Now, you've seen enough of our receivers over the years. You probably would have loved it. But then defensively, they run a lot of zone stuff, zone read. Good quarterback, throws pretty well, likes to run. Pocket collapses on him quite early, so he likes to run, and we just have to take advantage of that. And once we get him moving, we got to get him down and create the turnovers on defense. And we're looking forward to it. But again, it's not. I don't care who we're playing, whether it be a BAA 5th grade team to Lakeville South or North or whoever. And it's not who we play; it's how we play, and we have to get better. And this is a special week. He mentioned senior week and what senior night and what a special night that was for him. And getting that across to our kids, this is a special night. It really is. It's their last time in the stadium. It's a chance to say thank you to Mom and Dad for everything that they've done for them. So, hopefully we can go out and just play well and let the chips fall where they may.
Let's take a look at some of the highlights from Henry Sibley. This is against Apple Valley, a team that you defeated. Now, Henry Sibley lost this game by several scores. In fact, they were down 29-0 at one point. But here, they're a more diverse offense. You see them throw it there than maybe some of the other teams that you've played.
Yeah, they're an RPO, run-pass option team. So it's a zone, and the quarterback reads it. So he'll put it down and he'll just read the defensive end. If he likes to run, he'll hand it. If not, he throws a little slant. And 84 is their best receiver. Manny Montgomery will be covering 84 for us. We moved Manny to corner a week ago, did a great job. So Manny's job is 84, the young man you saw there. And but RPOs, you have to be disciplined. You have to be disciplined in your gaps up front, and the secondary has to cover well.
The linebackers are critical too when you're facing an RPO because oftentimes they're kind of just watching the Gopher games. They focus in on trying to get past those linebackers in terms of the receiving game. So how do you coach that linebacker group to be, as like you said, solid and disciplined this week?
It starts with their read steps. Everybody has a key. Everybody has a responsibility, and their first step is always forward. They have to stop the run first. The problems with the RPO is then he pulls it and throws it. So what we're going to do, we'll probably play more man coverage than we have in the past. We like our secondary in covering their guys. That allows our our linebackers to be a little bit more aggressive in filling those holes, which they're going to have to do. Then you mix in some zones, and it kind of eases that RPO pressure.
Final question for you, Coach, as you look ahead to Friday night. You mentioned senior night, last chance to be at home. Hopefully the weather doesn't get too cold like it's looking to be this weekend. But what do you say to all the Jaguar fans that have supported you guys throughout the season?
We have great fans and great parents, and the student body is great, and all of our Jefferson super fans, and they're there early, and they've been awesome. And this is the last event. With the cheerleaders, and the cheerleaders work hard, and the band, the marching band, and it truly is an event. Friday nights. And you know, this is the last Friday night, no matter what, for a while, because playoffs kind of go on different days. So I'm hoping everybody comes out, enjoy senior night, no matter whether it's football weather is what we're thinking. So come out to our last home game and have fun. We're going to work hard for you.
It should be a good one. Can't wait till Friday night. Jefferson taking on Henry Sibley, 7 o'clock at Bloomington Stadium. So head on out and watch the Jaguars, or you can catch it also on BEC-TV. That'll wrap it up. Another edition of Inside Jefferson Football as we work our way toward the end of the season here, Week 7 coming up on Friday. For our BEC-TV crew, this is Josh Powers saying good night from our studios.